Most of us have been to the circus at some point in our lives. The coolest thing about the circus to me is wondering who all those circus acts are and how they came to be. I've seen clowns, dancers, acrobats, animal trainers, huge people, tiny people, all sorts. For as long as I can remember, I've been obsessed with the circus. Part of that obsession is because of not belonging. I was born with a rare orthopedic condition where my knees bend backwards called congenital genu recurvatum. My parents gave me all the love they could and took me to specialist after specialist. At first, they thought once I stopped growing, surgery could be performed. Every consult and meeting left us with disappointment. My condition was too extreme, and even surgery wasn't an option. For the longest time, my parents tried to encourage me to walk upright as best as I could. It was just too hard. Every time they saw me walking on all fours, which was much easier, they would get upset. I think it was hard for them to see me looking even more freak-like than I already did. School was impossible, of course, so I was homeschooled. Kids were cruel, and it's not like I could really get myself around from class to class. I mean, maneuvering around our house was one thing, but getting around a huge school and up and down stairs was quite another matter. It was hard to leave the house. Everyone in town knew about me and my condition. My parents were popular and well-liked. I knew they wanted what was best for me, but it was hard that they didn't want me walking on all fours. They thought that once I started doing that, there was no going back. They thought if I tried and tried, I might be able to at least look partially normal if I could only find some way to walk semi-upright. I did try, but it was just impossible. 2 weeks after our last consult where we had officially given up hope that surgery would be possible, there was an announcement that the circus was coming to town. I begged and pleaded for my parents to take me. They struggled taking me out in public. They had never gotten used to the looks and stares I got. We had already talked about going. As it was also my birthday in 2 weeks, I knew they couldn't say no. They said they would get front row seats. I had watched every show, movie, and read every book on the circus I could get my hands on. Without friends or going out of the house very much, I had more than enough time to research all about it. I knew where the first circus had taken place, how it had grown to the entertainment force it was today, and of course had read about all the famous acts. What fascinated me the most was the story of a girl from the 1800s who had had the same condition as me and had become a circus star. Apparently, she had made enough money to live off forever. She had stayed in the circus until she saved enough money to move on, and after her days in the circus, not much was heard from her again. I had put a lot of thought into what my future looked like, and let's face it, I really didn't have one. I didn't want to be different. I wanted to be able to talk to people and laugh like normal kids. I was funny and smart, but no one would ever know because all they saw was how I looked and how weird it seemed to me shuffling around on all fours. With the circus coming, I was beyond excited. I could hardly sleep and had a secret plan to get a job there. My parents had no idea, and if they did, I had no doubt they wouldn't even entertain taking me, birthday or not. My mom had had a special dress made for the occasion, and when the day arrived, I could tell my parents were very anxious about it. With shoes on my hands and feet, I stepped over the threshold of our front door and proudly headed down the front path. My dad opened the car for me and helped me pile in the back. The seatbelt didn't quite work the way it was supposed to, but we could still get it somewhat around my body. When we arrived at the circus, of course, there was no parking, so we had to walk from the distance. The entire time we were stared at, my parents were trying to talk to me as if nothing was amiss, but really, I could feel their discomfort, and that was worse than my own. I cracked a lot of jokes about how much money I might be able to find being so close to the ground to ease the tension. I knew it wasn't easy for them to bring me out in public, so really I appreciated them doing this for me. What my parents didn't know was that I had gotten the name of the circus owner and had emailed him weeks before. I wanted to do what she did. I wanted to join the circus and make enough money so that I could have a life for myself. Who knows, maybe I could make enough to save up for surgery one day when it was discovered how to fix me, or at least make things a little better for me. He had emailed me back telling me that my parents had gotten front row seats and that he would come talk to me during the first intermission. I had cracked the obvious joke about him not being able to miss me. The second we walked under the flap of the tent, I felt like I was home. The colors, the lights, the everything. I could hardly take it all in and instantly failed to notice people's stares. It felt amazing to see people with all sorts of strange qualities walking around. There was a freakishly tall woman, a couple of midgets, a woman with a long beard, and a man who must have weighed 400 pounds. Suddenly I wasn't feeling quite so hideous. When the lights came on to announce the first intermission, my parents wanted to go get popcorn. They were suspicious that I didn't want to leave, so I told them I was waiting for the circus owner to come talk to me. They exchanged worry looks but sat back down. Before too long, a man in a top hat came to us, took his hat off, swept it behind his back, and gave me the deepest dramatic bow saying, "Pleasure to meet you." He sat down next to us and talked to my parents about the show. Then he said, "You have a very determined daughter here. She writes a fine letter." "Oh, really?" they said. I confessed I had emailed about wanting to travel with the circus and earn my own money. "I know you two can't support me forever, and you shouldn't have to. I may be disabled, but I am not stupid. There are things I can do, and this is what I want more than anything." I had graduated from high school, well, homeschooled high school the month before, and college obviously wasn't an option. The circus owner Joe said that he was going to leave us alone, but that he would be honored to offer me a spot in his show. This was hard for my parents, I knew. They always wanted to make me feel as normal as possible. This was contrary to their nature. By letting me join the circus, it was like they were giving in, like they were telling me and the world that I was indeed different and would never be normal. That night, I could hear my parents talking in hushed voices. I knew what they were talking about and had my fingers crossed that they would make the best decision for me. The next morning, they called me downstairs and we all sat around the dining room table together. "Your father and I have been talking all night. We have thought long and hard about everything you said to us. We know how always trying to protect you sometimes holds you back, and although we don't mean to, I'm sure our choices sometimes make you feel more different when everything we do is to make you feel more normal." "Mom and Dad," I said, "that's just the problem. Me, you, and everyone who sees me knows I'm not normal and never will be. I've made my peace with that. I am what I am. I want to live my life as I am, not trying to be something I'm not or want to be. Joining the circus isn't just about money. It's about accepting who I really am. I'm different, and I'm tired of trying to pretend I'm not. It takes too much energy." When I was finished, my mom started to cry and said I was the bravest and smartest person she knew. They gave me their blessing and I immediately picked up the phone and called the circus owner. I would be rolling out with them at the end of the week when the show was over. I felt amazing. I could finally embrace who I was and stop pretending that I was the same as everyone else. My life was finally my own.
To watch more animated story videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And tell us in the comments section what you thought about this story.